Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and today I am back with day number 16 of 30 Days of Sketches with Chrissy's Beautiful Life. Today's sketch comes from Jennifer, and I will post her social media links below. When I first saw this sketch, my thought was, not so much, but let's talk about that in just a second and how I made it my own. I did decide to pull out a digital collection from Kellybell Design. This kit is called Big Blue World. And I have been really experimenting more and more with digital content, especially the digital content over at Kellybell Designs, because I am loving the fact that I have so many Disney choices. For this particular layout, I thought it would be really fun to try to create a set of clusters prior to printing them out. So instead of printing out each individual piece and then piecing it together to create the cluster, I made my cluster digitally and then print it out as an entire one piece. And let me tell you, it did take me a little time to get that embellishment cluster put together, but afterwards, getting it on my layout was super easy. I do decide to pull out my inks. These are the only spray inks that I have, and it's been a really long time since I've used them, so I had to shake them a lot. I ended up cutting out several pieces of the video because I'm sure that you do not want to sit there and watch me shake bottles. I pulled out all the colors that I thought would match the collection that I was using. You can see over on the right hand side I have my two embellishment clusters. I pulled out a pink, a green, a couple of shades of blue, specifically a teal and a light blue, a green, as well as a yellow. And I'm going to add the splatters to the entire white piece, even though I cover up a majority of it. In the center is where I was kind of testing out the colors if I wasn't sure if that color would work or not, because I did know that the center part would be covered up with the cardstock that I had planned to use. So I didn't care that it didn't match. I did have one of the green ones spill a little bit on me, but I did eventually manage to get all the colors down. I slowed the video down here just so that you can see all of the beautiful splatters that I created on this white background paper, because no one else is going to see it. It's going to be covered up with these three sheets of paper: the orange, the pink, and the yellow. So my thought process when I was looking through trying to figure out what photos that I wanted to use in regards to this sketch, the makeup of the sketch wasn't working for me in the fact that a majority of it was in the center of the layout, which then called for much smaller photos than I like to have on my layout. So my thought was, why don't I just blow that center piece up and have three pieces of pattern paper on the larger scale. So my background orange paper is going to be 11.5 by 11 inches. That is going to leave me a 1/4 inch strip around the three sides, and then it will butt up in the center. The pink piece of paper is 11 inches by 10.5 inches, and then the yellow paper is 10.5 inches by 9 inches. It took me a lot longer than it probably should have to get all three of these pieces of paper lined up correctly, but the finished product does turn out pretty nicely. Once I cut the yellow piece of paper, for whatever reason, it's much larger on the right-hand side of the layout. I'm not sure how I missed it at this point because it's very obvious. I noticed it almost immediately when I was doing my edits to the video, but past me, who was working on this layout, did not notice this at all. But she does eventually notice it. So I brought out the white piece of paper that I did all of that beautiful splattering on, just to realize that I was covering it all up. I did decide that I was going to save the pink and orange paper by gutting it. And that is by cutting off three sides of it, since I knew that it was going to go to the edge of the paper in the middle of the layout. So I'm just leaving a 1-inch border around the three sides. And then when I lay the pink paper on top of it, as well as the yellow, you're never going to know. Also, the pink paper and the orange paper are cardstock, so it is a little bit thicker than the other papers. And if I had left all three of the papers down, the orange, pink, and yellow, my layout would be super, super thick. So this does allow for less room in my albums. I did have to use my T-square ruler, and I just put a pencil line at the bottom because I was struggling to make sure that the orange piece was straight because it was so close to the edge of the paper. Once I got the orange paper down, then it was pretty easy to get the pink paper down because the pink paper is 1 inch from the bottom. So I just used the width of my ruler to measure out how far the pink paper needed to be from the bottom. And then the yellow paper is 1 inch from the bottom of the orange paper. So that also made it pretty easy to get down. Once I got the left-hand side of the layout cut out and adhered down, then I start to work on the right side. While I'm doing that, I do want to encourage you guys to check out the playlist below. I can't believe we're more than halfway done with these layouts. It has been a very crazy October, but I am so glad that I have gotten so many memories documented already so far, and we still have quite a few left, and I'm pretty excited about the ones that are left. Make sure you check out the playlist below so that you can see everyone else's take on this sketch. It will be very different than mine since I did kind of blow up that center part of my sketch and make it work for my photos as well as my style. So these photos are of the Seas with Nemo and Friends at Epcot, which is in Orlando, Florida. This is one of the rides that we check out when it is super hot outside, because once you go through the ride, then you are dropped off in the huge aquarium at Epcot in the Seas Pavilion. That pavilion is so beautiful. We love checking out the aquarium. There's so many different amazing creatures that live in the sea that Disney has on property. We have 2 manatees at Epcot that were injured in the wild, and so they are now housed there as injured manatees, and they are beautiful to watch them in the tanks. We also have some dolphins. I do believe that they were recently removed, or they're going to be removed. It was announced that they were going to be removed, which is very sad because I love watching the dolphins swim around and play. But there's just so many other different amazing sea creatures in the aquarium as well. But for this particular photos, these are photos of us on the ride and then right outside of the Seas with Nemo. So on the left-hand side, it is kind of dark photos. We took selfies in the ride itself, which we are in clamshells. The photo that's right next to the selfies is actually a photo that I got offline. It's a photo of the clamshells. And then on the right-hand side of the layout, I have the photo of the Seas with Nemo and Friends. That is the entrance to the ride as well as the aquarium. You can go around back to the back part of the aquarium to enter there and bypass the ride. But why would you do that? Because there's no one ever in that line, and it's a pretty chill ride. And then there's a photo of all of us sitting outside. This is a photo that was taken by a cast member, and it has Nemo, Marlin, and Dory behind us. And then the photo down below it is actually 2 3x4 photos that I had put together using the Project Life app. And they were photos that I found online of the ride itself. They're not the best photos, so that's why I wanted to make them smaller, but it just gives you an idea of the ride and that you're able to see all of the characters from the movies. So all of the photos are down flat, but I did put the 2 photos that are in the center, which is the clamshell and the entrance to the ride, up on fun foam. And then I decided to add these embellishment pieces. And since I did a majority of the work on my computer, putting these embellishment clusters together was as simple as adding adhesive to the back of it. And I love that fact because I was able to create these while I was watching TV. And then when I came into my scrapbook room, I just sent them to my Silhouette, and print and cut feature was super easy to use and cut them out. I decided to pull out my color boxes in pink, orange, and yellow. Surprise, surprise, the same color as my background paper. And I was able to find 2 of the stars, the orange and the yellow, had faces on them, and they kind of remind me of the starfish from Finding Nemo. So I absolutely had to add those. I think they're from Doodlebug. I couldn't find a pink star with a face, but I did find a pink star that had some glitter on it. So I was making sure that I included that. After I got the stars in the upper left and the bottom right clusters, I felt like my photos needed some stars as well. So I added those. Off camera, I did my journaling, which says, Nana, Eli, Nicholas, and I hopped into our Clammobile, and took a leisurely plunge beneath the waves. But hold up, where's Nemo? We had to keep swimming to track him down. And then that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. Make sure you check out the playlist below so that you can see everyone else's interpretation of this sketch. If you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.